Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I focus on everything luxury, beauty, and fashion. If you're interested in the latest fashion and beauty trends as well as luxury vlogs, then you are in the right place. Today we're going to talk about the newly launched highlighters by Dior. As usual, we're going to talk about the packaging of the products as well as the price points compared to the permanent collection. And then we're going to talk about the swatches of the new shades compared to the permanent collection as well as some of the shades from previously launched limited edition collections. At the end of this video, I'm going to do a makeup demo to help you understand the performance of those products and show you some of the looks that you can create. I also want to mention that I will do today's eye look using a newly launched eyeshadow palette that's part of the permanent collection, which is 936 Sweet Bouquet. This palette features a very pretty pinky and lavender tone, which I think will go very well with the two shades that I picked up from the new Luminizer collections. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure that you continue watching. I also want to mention that Chanel recently launched a new Camelia Futura collection as well, which is absolutely stunning. I'm also going to talk about the new freebies that Dior launched this year. So I'm going to talk about the gifts that I received in the past versus the gifts that I received this year to give you some insights into whether it's still worth it to hit that platinum level now, given the fact that they raised the purchasing requirement by quite a bit earlier this year. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out. Without any further ado, let's get into today's video. I want to first talk about the packaging of this new product. As you can see that it features a very similar pattern compared to the permanent collection, which has the Dior Canage design all over the cover. And the finish of the packaging is metallic, which is different from the matte finish of the permanent collection. Comparing to the permanent collection, I do prefer the new packaging because I feel like the pattern is a lot more tightly weaved, as you can see. And when you touch the cover, you can feel like that's much better made because of how tightly weaved the Canage pattern is on the cover. If you watch my YSL Make Me Blush video, you know that I really enjoy the packaging of that product, which shows the color that's inside of the palette on the cover. So I feel like that's something that Dior could have done a little bit better. If you purchase 5 colors, for example, from this collection, you don't have to open it up every single time to figure out which palette you're picking up. I also want to mention that the whole idea behind this couture packaging is so that you can match your makeup products to the Dior fashion products that you own in your closet. So for example, this silver packaging is the exact same shade as the metallic silver Lady Dior that's offered by the fashion department. And later this year, Dior is also going to launch a cushion foundation with customized cases that feature designs that are very similar to the Lady Dior bags. So they're going to offer a pink cover with a shiny finish, as well as a black cover that looks very similar to the patent leather of the fashion accessories. And then they're also going to launch a matte finish that looks very similar to the canvas pattern that's part of the fashion department as well. So I think these new products are going to be very good additions to your closet. If you already have some of the fashion accessories from this brand, then you can really have that matchy-matchy look from beauty products to your outfits. Now, from a price point perspective, these new luminizers retail for 70 Canadian dollars. I'm going to look up all the US prices down below so that you guys can compare. In Canada, the price of those new luminizers is the same as the couture luminizer. And it's slightly more compared to the blush highlighter duo that they launched last year. So from that perspective, I do think it's worth it to pick them up from a packaging perspective, because you are getting a very limited edition couture packaging. And I think this packaging is better than the permanent collection for the same price. From the shade range perspective, I also think the new collection is better than the permanent collection. So this new collection features 7 new shades ranging from the very unique blue shade to a very rosy shade, which you can use as a highlighting blush, to the very regular champagne gold and gold highlighters. So I would say from a shade range perspective, this new collection is definitely more diverse compared to the permanent collection. Let me show you some swatch comparisons, and as you can see, the permanent highlighters feature very generic shades with a very pearlescent and smooth formula. On the other hand, the new collection has some very unique shades like number 5 blue strobe and number 4 pink strobe, which is a duochrome. The finishes are also quite different as well. For example, number 6 and number 7 are very glittery and will work the best as highlighting toppers, in my opinion. The rest of the shades, Nude Halo, Gold Halo, and Pink Halo, are also very pretty and are much more everyday friendly, in my opinion. Comparing to the permanent collection, they are more impactful and have more of a metallic finish. I picked up 2 shades from this new luminizer collection. One of them is the rose gold shade with yellow gold shift, and the other one is the blue shade with a little bit of a silver shift. So from a performance perspective, I think both of them are very good. I slightly prefer the blue shade compared to the pink shade, and I'm going to show you why when I do my makeup demo in a bit. Now, you may say that the lavender trend has been on for a while now, and Dior launched a few more limited edition that's kind of in this color range. So how does those 2 new shades compare to some of the previous launches? So I did compare the new shades with this palette that was launched during the holiday season, which also features a light blue highlighter as well as a satin rose blush. So I compared this color with the new rose gold luminizer, and I would say between the two, this palette is actually a little bit more pigmented because the rose color in this palette is intended as a blush, whereas this rose color is intended as a highlighter. So that could be why there is a little bit of difference in pigmentation. But the shade itself are actually quite close between the two. So if you already own this palette, I would say you probably don't really need to pick up the rose gold color. And I also compared this rose gold color with the rose gold color from the new YSL Make Me Blush collection. Based on my comparison, this rose gold color is leaning a lot more cooler toned compared to the YSL rose gold color, and the pigmentation is a lot sheer too compared to the YSL blush. I also compared the pink strobe shade against last year's blush highlighter duo in 257 Dior Rivera. The new pink strobe shade is more pigmented and sophisticated with a gold shift. I also compared last year's coral palette against the new gold halo shade. Both highlighters are very pigmented, as you can see from my swatches. I personally prefer the new shade because it has more of a pop. Now moving on to the new blue strobe highlighter that looks similar to the blue highlighter in the Celestial Glow palette. I much more prefer the new shade, which is more pigmented and creamier. Given that the blue strobe shade has a silver shift, I also compared it against the silver highlighter in the Backstage palette, which swatched much better compared to the blue shade in the same palette and has more of a metallic finish. Now, to demonstrate the performance of those products, I'm going to show you the makeup look that I did today, starting with the eyeshadow palette. So if you guys watched my Glowmania spring collection review, you know that this is the new shade that was launched earlier this year. And I would say this is my favorite palette that was launched by Dior so far. Dior also launched 2 other palettes, Peach Mania and Pink Mania. One of them is leaning more warm with a very beautiful blue shade, and the other palette is leaning more cool with a very unique mint green color. I did really enjoy those two palettes, but I think if I have to pick one favorite out of all the new palettes, I would pick this one. And this one features a lavender and pink type of color story with a very diverse formula. You have one matte shade, which is in the middle, and that's the light lavender shade. And then this pink color has a very satin finish that looks very beautiful on the eye and has a very nice spring vibe. And then the other three shades are more shimmery, with this purple shade being a little bit more metallic than the other two. And my favorite out of the three shimmery shade is this silver shade, which I think is really good inner corner highlighter. So the makeup look that I did, I started with this beautiful pink shade and I applied it all over the lid to lighten up my eye look, and then I went in with the lavender shade to add some dimension to the shape of my eyes. And then I went in with this metallic purple shade towards the end of my eyes to add a little bit of shine and depth. And then I went in with this pink shimmery shade in the center of my lid to bring a little bit of radiance to my eyes. To finish the look, I applied the silver color to lighten up my inner corner. After I was done with my eye look, I went in with this rose gold color, which I picked up from the new Luminizer collection as a highlighted blush. I have to know that this color looks very pretty on the pen, and if you turn the palette a little bit, you can really see the shift between pink and gold. So I think this is a very elegant and unique color. However, I do think the finish is quite sheer, even though the color looks pretty intense on the pen. So as you can see on my makeup look, it's pretty difficult to spot this color on my cheek. There's a little bit of the pink color, but I was hoping that it's going to be a little bit more impactful. And then after I was done with the blush, I went in with the blue color as a highlighter. I have to say that I was really pleasantly surprised by this color, because I thought this color is going to be the sheer one between the two, but it turns out to be the opposite. So this color actually is a little bit more pigmented than the rose gold color, and it looked really nice as a highlighter. It has that really nice blue sheen, but it's not overpowering in a way that it looks really strange. I think it looks very elegant and unique, so I do recommend this one. To finish the look, I used the Dior Addict lipstick in the shade Pink Lilac as a base on my lips. This is not a new shade. It was released last summer as part of the whole Pink Lilac collection, which I also did a review on. I will link it down below in case you are interested. And then I went in with the lip maximizer in shade Holographic Lavender, which is my favorite color and is part of the permanent collection. I think this color looks perfect with today's look, and it's super moisturizing on the lips, which is a big plus. So here is the finished look, my friends. Overall, I enjoyed all the products that I reviewed in this video. The eyeshadow palette is beautiful. I can't wait to use it more often now that the weather is getting warmer. I also really like the new shades that I picked up from the Luminizer collection, which I think are very special. I don't have anything like that in my collection right now. I may go back and pick up the Opal Sequin shade, which I think will work great as an inner corner highlighter, as well as an actual highlighter topper. On top of that, the packaging of the new highlighters is also 10 out of 10. So overall, I think this collection is definitely worth buying. That's all for today, my friends. I hope that the review today is helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to try my best to answer your questions. As mentioned, I have a lot of interesting contents coming up. I'm going to review the new Chanel Beauty collection, as well as the new cushion foundation that's going to be launched by Dior very shortly. So if that's something that you're interested in, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.